Good morning everyone, how are you my dear students? Okay, now it's time to start with lecture 6 in week 25. So as you are used, this week we have to cover comprehension and phonics. First of all, our objectives for this template or for this lecture, we're going to introduce a new theme. It's a very interesting theme. It's about cultures. We will introduce new keywords, new vocabulary words. You will be able to summarize a paragraph in 1 or 2 sentences. What do we mean by summarization? Okay, follow up with me, then you will know what we mean by summarization. And in the phonics, you're going to be able to form plurals from singulars. So your resources for this lecture are the RWW book, Reading Writing Workshop, for the vocabulary words, pages 164-165, for your reading lesson, A Reluctant Traveler, pages 166 to 169. Okay, so be prepared to practice reading this week. And for the phonics, you're going to cover pages 96 to 103, lesson plurals in ISI for grammar phonics booklet. Okay, ISI booklet 1. Okay guys, yeah, are you ready? Let's start. Let's start with the simplest part of our lecture, which is the phonics one, the plurals. What do we mean by plurals? Okay, you know that plural, when we say plural, we mean that we have more than one thing, more than one person, more than one object. Maybe we're talking about more than one idea. So whenever the number exceeds 1, so it's 2 or more, we say that it's a plural. But whenever it's 1, it is single. So a plural noun, also you have to notice something, that we say plural and singular for the nouns, not verbs, not adjectives, not the articles. We say plural for the nouns. A plural noun names 2 or more people, 2 or more places, 2 or more animals, 2 or more things, 2 or more ideas, like dogs, forests, bags. Okay? How to change the regular singular noun into a plural? Okay, now I want to know how to change the singular plural into the singular noun into a plural noun if it's regular. Okay, simply we have to add s to the regular singular noun to make it plural. Example, one parrot, several parrots. So I add just s. It ends with any consonant letter. I add just s. Even if the noun ends with e, you just add s. Okay, so simply to form the regular plurals from the singular, okay, you have to just add s. You might ask, what do you mean by regular? Okay, some nouns they just take as, other nouns they do not follow the rule. We call them irregular nouns. This part you're going to cover it later in grammar. Okay, so something you have to pay attention to it, that sometimes the noun takes es to change from singular to plural. Why? If the noun ends with n, s, sh, ch, o, x, or z, you must add es. Yes, you might say, yes, it's similar to the verbs, forming the verbs in simple present tense. Yes, that's right. It's similar to forming the verbs in simple present tense, but here we are talking about nouns. If the noun ends with s, sh, ch, o, x, or z, then you have to add es to change it from singular to plural. Example, lash, lashes, branch, branches, zero, zeros, box, boxes. So you see, the verbs end with the nouns, the nouns end with sh, ch, o, or x. We have to add es. When a noun ends in a consonant and a y, so if the noun ends with a y and before the y I have a consonant letter, as you all know, okay, we have to change the y to I and add es. Example, fairy, fairies. So you notice that we changed the y into I and then we added es. Cherry, cherries. We changed the y into I and then we added es. Okay guys, so now that we have finished from the phonics part, the easiest part in our lecture, it's time for you to go and practice the exercises in the booklet, in the pages that I mentioned in the first
around
slide.
The world share many
Let's
things,
move now to our new theme.
Music
What
and
can learning
dance are
about
found
different cultures
everywhere,
teach us?
but
Cultures.
each
What do you mean
culture
by
performs
cultures? You
them
know
in
that
its
we as
own
people
way.
come from different
One
cultures.
food
Everyone
eaten
comes
by
from a
many
different
cultures
country.
is
We have our
rice,
ways,
but some
our
may
own
eat
way
it with a
of living,
fork,
our own way of food, cooking
while
food,
others might use
our own way of
chopsticks.
greeting, for example, our
And
traditions,
still
our
others
beliefs,
might use
okay?
their
And they
fingers.
differ between a country and another. They differ between people and other. So you notice that people
All
in Lebanon,
cultures
they do
bring
not live the
people
same way
together
as
for
people
special
in
occasions,
United States, for
and each
example, or in
culture
Spain.
also has unique
There could
customs
be
to
similarities
share with
between
all of
cultures,
us.
but also there are huge differences, okay, in the way of thinking, maybe in the way of working, okay, etc. But it's very nice and good to learn about different cultures in case someday you travel to a new culture or a country, you would know how to treat people there and how to act. So in order to have a better idea about the theme and cultures, let's watch this short video.
What can learning about different cultures teach us? Cultures around the world share many things, while other things are unique. Music and dance are found everywhere, but each culture performs them in its own way. One food eaten by many cultures is rice, but some may eat it with a fork, while others might use chopsticks. And still others might use their fingers. All cultures bring people together for special occasions, and each culture also has unique customs to share with all of us.
So, I think now that you had a better idea about cultures, let's start with our lesson. Okay, to begin, let's start with the vocabulary words. Let's see what are our new keywords this time. First word, appreciation. Appreciation. Appreciation means to understand the value of something. When you understand, for example, if you have a blessing, you understand the value of it, then you appreciate it. Appreciation. Example, Graham showed her appreciation for my help by giving a hug. Okay, so Graham, her grandma, wanted to show the appreciation since her granddaughter helped her, so she gave her a hug. Okay, for example, if someone helps you, how would you show appreciation for someone? Okay, maybe if someone helps me, I would thank him a lot or thank her a lot. Maybe I would give him or her a present, a small present, okay, to show just the appreciation, to show that I'm grateful, I'm thankful for the help that they did for me. So appreciation is to show that you appreciate something, that you have a great value of something. The second word, blurted. Blurted, said it suddenly. To say something suddenly, so you blurt it. For example, by mistake, I blurted out the secret about the surprise. So you see, you blurt, you say something suddenly without thinking about it before. For example, how would you feel after you blurted out a secret? If someone tells you a secret and you blurt it out, how would you feel? You would feel sad, you would feel embarrassed because someone told you a secret, so you have to keep the secret. You should not blurt it out. So blurt it or blurted, to said it suddenly. Complimenting. Complimenting is saying something nice about someone. When you want to say something nice to someone, so you compliment him or her. Complimenting me when I do well makes me feel great. So complimenting is a good thing because it provokes others to do better. It makes others feel great. Okay, so complimenting is good. Okay, but do not misconfuse between complimenting and lying. No, complimenting is to be kind with others, but lying is when you're hiding the truth. Okay, so please try to compliment, but do not try to lie. Okay, if you were complimenting a friend, what would you say? For example, I want to compliment one of you as a student. Great job, keep going on. Okay, for example, excellent, bravo. So you see, I'm complimenting you, I'm praising you in order to do better later. Congratulate. congratulate. When you congratulate, you give praise or good wishes for someone that has happened. For example, after Nikki lost the race, she went over to congratulate the winner. Okay, so you congratulate the winner. For example, if you take high grades or if you improve in school or in any certain in a certain subject, for example, the teacher congratulates you in order to keep doing well in the subject. Okay, so you congratulate. It might be similar to compliment, but you congratulate. Even if you are not a winner, you have to congratulate the others. Okay, what might you congratulate someone for? For example, I might congratulate someone or a woman if she gets birth for a baby. Okay, if she gets a baby, I will congratulate her. Contradicted is disagreed with. When you disagree with something, when you say the opposite of something that you have said before, or you are opposite to someone, so you disagree, you contradict. Example, the witness contradicted what he had said earlier and the lawyer pointed it out. So here the witness, when the lawyer asked the witness questions, he said things different from those that he said before. So he contradicted what he had said earlier. When have you contradicted something you said previously? For example, let's say today I tell you that you should not do this homework. Okay, and tomorrow I say, no, you said you should do this homework. So I'm contradicting myself. No, so please do not contradict yourselves. Stay always aware of what you're saying and make sure that what you're saying is what you want exactly to say. Okay, so do not contradict yourself. But you might disagree with someone about on a certain point. Yes, it's okay, you can contradict it because it is your own opinion. Critical, it's to have an opinion that something is wrong. Okay, so most critical people, they say their opinion that the point they are criticizing is wrong. Okay, so they see that the opposing point is wrong. A critical person often finds fault with what others do and points it out. For example, let's say every time you do something, there is a person who says, no, you are wrong, no, you are wrong, you made a mistake, you are not correct. So here, this person is critical. He's always telling you that you're doing something wrong. But pay attention, he might not be the correct person. Maybe he's the wrong one, okay? It's not necessary if someone always tells you that you are wrong, it means that he's right. No, he might not be right, okay? Pay attention to that. When have you been critical of yourself? Maybe when you're doing something wrong, later you criticize yourself, you become critical of yourself. Okay, so you rethink of what you have done before and you notice that it was wrong. Okay, so you must not have done it. Okay, but you're critical of others if you're telling that they are wrong. Pay attention when to tell people that they are wrong and when do not tell them. Cultural, everything related to customs, beliefs, and traditions. Pay attention, guys. Customs here, it doesn't mean the clothes that we wear. No, customs are the ways of living. Okay, customs, beliefs, and traditions. Languages, foods, and celebrations are examples of cultural differences. So you see, ways of living, the language, the food, the occasions that we celebrate are cultural, okay, related to our cultures. Give 2 examples of cultural activities. Let's give 2 examples of our cultural activities. For example, Al-Fitr Fest. This is a culture. We celebrate it with our families, for example. Okay, so you see, for example, the New Year. The New Year, we stay with our families at home. This is a cultural activity. We celebrate it together. We make a dinner, we bring sweets, we play games. This is how we celebrate this activity. Misunderstanding, it means to fail to understand one another, to fail to understand someone else. When two fail to understand each other. Mira wore the wrong clothes as a result of a misunderstanding. She misunderstood what they wanted her to wear, so she wore the wrong clothes. How would you handle a misunderstanding with a friend? I simply just bring my friend and speak with each other and explain everything from my point of view, and I must listen to him or her also, so we can solve this misunderstanding. Okay, so since we have finished explaining the vocabulary word, let's practice. Use the words in the box to finish each analogy. Okay, in the analogy you have to see the first two words if they have the same meanings or they have different meanings. So the second part of the analogy must follow the same strategy. So for example, number one, walked, ran. Walked is somehow opposite to ran. It's opposite to run. For example, you walk slowly but you run quickly. So spoke, you speak slowly, you are sure what you want to say. So there is a word that is somehow opposite to spoke. It doesn't follow the same rhythm as speaking. So it is what? It is blurted. The first word is blurted. Let's write it down. So spoke, blurted. Okay? They both express an action of speaking, but speaking is different somehow from blurting something. Squabble, quarrel, as mix up is to, when you mix up something, okay, you do not understand it well, so to misunderstanding. Mix up is misunderstanding. It's a long word. Okay. Natural is to environment, as social is to everything natural, it comes from the environment. Everything social, it comes from the culture, cultural. So everything social is cultural. Okay, A-L at the end. For cheer is to celebrate. When you cheer something, you celebrate it. When you applause for something, you congratulate. Okay, so agreed is to decided. You agree, you decide something. You disagree, disagreed, you contradicted. Contradicted. Okay, it's obvious and clear. Admiring is to approving. When you admire something, you approve it. As in praising is to complimenting. When you praise, you compliment. You give you say nice words. Complimenting. Okay, so we have used the blurted, misunderstanding, we have used contradicted and complimenting, we have used cultural, and we have used congratulate. We still have critical and appreciation. Let's see. Positive is to certain. Positive is to certain. When you are positive of something, you're certain, but when you're unfavorable, you do not like it, you see it's wrong, so it is critical. Critical. Okay, and the last one, distrust, is to trust. When you distrust something, the opposite of it, you trust it. Whereas when you displeasure something, the opposite of it, you appreciate. Displeasure is for appreciation. Appreciation. So I think now the vocabulary words are explained clearly for you. Now it's time for the genre. Okay, the genre this time will be realistic fiction. It's something that we have covered before, not something new. So in a realistic fiction story or text, it tells about characters and events that resemble people and events in real life. They are not real, okay, but they could happen in real life. They could be found in real life. It happens in a setting that is real or seems real. Maybe the setting is real or maybe it seems real. It could be real, and it includes dialogue and descriptive details. Okay, I think that it's clear for you because it's not the first time that we cover the realistic fiction genre. Okay, now let's start with our reading lesson. A reluctant traveler. I think packing winter clothes in August is weird, Paul said, looking from his bedroom window onto West 90th Street. This wasn't going to be a fun vacation. He was sure of it. His mom contradicted. It's not weird, honey. Argentina's in the southern hemisphere and we're in the northern hemisphere, so the seasons are opposite. To Paul, this was just another reason to want to stay in New York City. Paul wanted to spend the rest of his summer break hanging out with his friends and not with Aunt Lila and Uncle Art in a faraway country. Paul's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gorski, were teachers, and this was a chance they couldn't pass up. Their apartment had been covered with travel guides full of cultural information ever since Mrs. Gorski's sister and her husband had relocated to Argentina 6 months ago. The Gorskis had big plans. Paul, on the other hand, wanted to sleep late and play soccer with his friends. They lived in a city already. Why were they going to Buenos Aires? As their plane took off, Paul's dad said, "Look down there. That's the island of Manhattan. See? You can even see Central Park." Paul never realized how completely surrounded by water New York was. Many hours later, as the plane was landing in Buenos Aires, Paul noticed similar outlines of a city on the water and bright lights, just like home. "We have so much to show you," Aunt Lila gushed when they met at the airport. They had a late dinner at a restaurant, just as they often did back home. But the smells coming from its kitchen were new. Uncle Art ordered in Spanish for everyone. Empanadas, small meat pies, followed by parrillada, grilled meat, chimichurri, spicy sauce, and ensalada mixta, lettuce, tomatoes, and onions. Paul made a face. "Don't be critical, Paul," his mom said. "Just take a taste." Though some of the foods were new, the spices and the flavors were familiar to Paul. "Mom, I had something like this at Caesar's house," Paul said, after biting into an empanada. "This is really good." As he was complimenting the food, Paul felt his bleak mood improving. Their first full day in Buenos Aires brought a rush of new sights, sounds, and languages. Paul noticed that, like in New York, Buenos Aires had people from all over the world. His Aunt Lila remarked, "We speak Spanish, but I really need to be multilingual." On a plaza, Paul saw a group of people dancing to music he'd never heard. Paul had seen break dancing on the street, but never dancing like this. "That's the tango," Uncle Art said. "It's the dance Argentina is famous for." Being a soccer player, Paul, I know you have an appreciation for people who move well. "You know, that is pretty cool," Paul admitted. Around noon, they piled back into the car and drove to the most unusual neighborhood Paul had seen yet. All the buildings were painted or decorated in yellow and blue. "Soccer season has started here," his Aunt Lila said. "Huh?" Paul asked, wondering if there had been a misunderstanding. "Is it too cold for soccer?" he asked. "It's nearly spring," and his aunt added, "Boca and River are playing at La Bombonera, the famous stadium, this afternoon." She held out her hand, which held 5 tickets to see these big teams play. Paul couldn't believe it. "We're in the neighborhood of La Bombonera," Uncle Art said. "When Boca beats their rival River, the people decorate their neighborhood in Boca colors." "Maybe I could paint my room in soccer team colors," Paul blurted. His mom smiled. "I congratulate you, Paul. You've turned out to be a really great traveler." Paul smiled too. The last objective in our lecture is to the summarization. Summarize. What do we mean by summarize? Let's see. When readers summarize, they capture only the most important parts of the text. So when we summarize, we have a text or a paragraph. You want to make it shorter. How do you make it shorter? You have to take the most important parts of the paragraph. So you have to take the most important, the main ideas only. Do not add any details that are not needed. No, you just take the main ideas. The main ideas, I repeat. So you take the main ideas to make your paragraph shorter. Okay? First of all, you have to think of the details that need to be included. You have to think of the details that can be left out. Then do not include opinions, backgrounds, and personal knowledge. So to summarize well, you have to find out that details that should be included, that you cannot remove them, because if you remove them they will affect on the main idea. Then you have to think of the details that you have to throw aside. They should not be included at all, because if we remove them they do not affect on the meaning or on the main idea. And you have to pay attention to something, that you should not include your opinion, should not add new backgrounds or personal knowledge. Okay, pay attention to these 3 things whenever you are summarizing. Okay, to help you better to summarize paragraphs or texts, let's follow these steps. How to summarize? First, read the text. You have to read the text or a paragraph. It could be a paragraph only. Okay, read the paragraph very well. Then, don't let big words scare you. Never let big words scare you. This is an advice. Ask, what was this text about? You have to ask yourself, what was the text about, in order to figure out the main idea. Then, now let's see your answer, what it should include. It should include, it should be a complete sentence or 2 sentences. It should be complete. Okay, it should cover main point and key ideas, the main ideas. It should cover only the main ideas. It should be in your own words. Okay, it should be in your own words. So this is how you summarize and how you check your answer after you summarize, to know if it's a good summarization or not. And also pay attention when we say complete sentence, it should not be just word or 2. Complete sentence. Okay? Now let's read the paragraph, then choose the sentence that best summarizes it. Andrew snorkeled among the coral reefs every day of his vacation in Hawaii. He loved to watch the colorful fish there. He lost his goggles on the 2nd day, so he had to buy new ones. One afternoon, Andrew saw a sea turtle in the water. He swam with the turtle until his father called to him from the beach. It was a very exciting day. Okay, let's ask ourselves, what's the main idea of this paragraph? This paragraph is telling me how Andrew spent his vacation. He did a lot of activities and he had fun. Excellent. So now you see, you summarize the paragraph in your own words. Let's see the options and choose one of them, the correct one. Andrew had an amazing vacation with the sea animals in Hawaii. This is A. B. Andrew lost his goggles under the water while watching the colorful fish. The first option, it tells me that Andrew spent or had an amazing vacation and he did a lot of activities. It's similar to the one I thought about. The second one, Andrew lost his goggles. No, the paragraph, it doesn't focus on losing the goggles. No. Losing the goggles was one of the things that happened with Andrew, but the main thing that happened with Andrew is that he had an amazing vacation. Okay, he had an amazing vacation. So A is the correct sentence that best summarizes the paragraph above. Okay guys, we have reached the end of our lecture. Thank you for listening. I hope that everything is clear for you now. Please revise everything and do not forget to practice. Bye bye.